numbers are going. Okay. Welcome back, gentlemen. I apologize. 2 weeks ago actually wasn't my fault. It was a tinus, so we canceled the shiur because that's when we would be eating. Last week actually I had to go to New York for my brother-in-law's wedding. Brother-in-law made a wedding for his son. So, excuse me, so that was, I apologize. I am very, very committed to make sure that this shiur does happen in Yetz Hashem every Thursday night. Okay, a few quick announcements. I was in New York now, and there is still one Sifsei Chein available. Anyone who wants to buy a Sifsei Chein, it's here. That's announcement number one. Announcement number two. Would be a great thing if we could find a donor to donate some Sifsei Chein so we could have them here on the table. So in case a new person comes, he doesn't have the sefer, he can just pick up a sefer and have it. So anyone who wants to donate a sefer, they're generally $45. We would appreciate it. Okay. Third announcement, the WhatsApp group. So there is now a Pnimius Toronto WhatsApp group. Chaim's here. Great. Okay, Chaim's here. There is a Pnimius Toronto WhatsApp group. My number is 647-272-9873. Anybody who wants to be part of the Pnimius Toronto WhatsApp group should please, the best thing is to send me a WhatsApp and say with your name and say that you want to be part of the group. The positive thing about the Pnimius WhatsApp group would be that it's one place. If everybody who's interested in this shiur can get me their number, we can put everyone on the group, and then I myself, I don't have to rely on anybody, I myself will send out the Zoom link, and I'll remind everybody there's a shiur Thursday night. If we have to cancel, I'll say that we're canceling. If everybody that's interested in this shiur could be on that WhatsApp group, we'll make it very easy for me, and I think it would be a tova for everyone. So again, my number is 647-272-9873. Please send me a WhatsApp if you want to be part of that group, and I will include you. Next announcement. So this book came out. I was just in New York. I got it at Eichler's in New York. This is the book. The book is called Emek HaMelech. Mystic Tales from Emek HaMelech. Now, of course, Emek HaMelech was printed about 400 years ago. We have spoken about it on other shiurim. The Emek HaMelech is one of the foundational svarim of the Toras of Harav Yisrael Saruk. And what this Rabbi Dov Ber Pinzon, he has come out with a new book, and what he's done is he's taken all the story. The Emek HaMelech is a very interesting sefer in that it's very unique. He will be talking about the deepest things, and all of a sudden he'll say, and to make my point, I'm going to tell you a story. And he'll tell you a story of the Arizal. Or this is a very big person, and his style was very interesting. It's from the most spiciest svarim that you'll ever come across, and it's a lot of. It's very enjoyable to learn it, and that's his style. That every now and then he'll just say, and to make my point, I'm going to tell you a story. Of course, these are true stories, and as a matter of fact, a lot of our the maisim that we have from the Arizal come from the Emek HaMelech. A lot of them. And a lot of these stories have been circulating around, but if you'll trace it back, you'll see that the Emek HaMelech is the first source of usually of all those stories. A lot of stories about the Arizal, other interesting stories. So what this Rabbi Dov Ber Pinzon, it would have been a very big undertaking to translate the entire Emek HaMelech. It would have taken years. So I don't know if that's in his plans, but what he did in the meantime was that he translated all the stories of Emek HaMelech and he published it. And he did an excellent job. The book itself is like a beautiful book. It's a masterpiece. And there's a lot of very good historical information about Rabbi Yisrael Saruk and the Baal Emek HaMelech and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I highly recommend this. I bought it at Eichler's in New York. Next item. Okay. So I think it's very important that we discuss it. we're learning a lot of deep things now. We're learning, I mean, we call it Hasidus and we call it Hasidic Svarim, but ultimately everybody understands that the basis of Hasidic Svarim is Kisvei Arizal and Kabbalah in general. We have a general rule that when we learn Kabbalah, we want to learn it in a state of Kedusha and Tahara. We want to learn it in a state of holiness. Now, what does that mean? So, of course, it means that people who are involved in this limud, we have to try to watch our eyes, what we look at. We have to try to watch what we think about, right? We try to live our lives in a holy way. Now, we are all human beings, and Hashem in His wisdom has wired us in a certain way, and it's a fact. However, we have to, if we're in this limit of Chassidus, which is ultimately the limit of Pnimis Torah, otherwise known as Kabbalah, it is extremely important that we try as much as possible to learn this limit with Kedusha and Tahara. That means to say that we are not angels, but we try, like I said, not to look at things we should not look at. We try not to think about things that we should not think about. But the point that I want to make now is that if Chas v'Shulam, a person ever sees zera or seed, a large amount, let's put it that way. Forgive me for being graphic, but these things need to be said. If a person should see such a thing, Chas v'Shulam, whether it was by accident or Chas v'Shulam otherwise, the tikkun for this is the mikveh. Of course, that was too easy. The tikkun for this is real tshuva, which means charat and tshuva, but practically speaking, after a person has done their best with charata, regret, and tshuva, we need the tikkun of the mikveh. Now, the derech of Chassidim is to go to mikveh every single morning, and on an Erev Shabbos to go an extra time, or Erev Yom Tov an extra time. Okay, I am not saying that we're going to... I'm sorry?
Like twice in the day?
Yeah. The Chassidim go every morning before Shachris, and then after Chatzos, on a Friday, they will go a second time. That is the minig Chassidim. I will not say that we insist upon this for this year. I will not say that. I think it's a great thing to do, and I think it does give a life of Kedusha and Tahara, and it doesn't take that much time because I think, well, I don't know everybody. Me personally, I take a shower every morning. So instead of taking a shower at home, I go to a shul that has a mikveh, and before davening, I jump into the mikveh. I take a nice shower, jump into the mikveh, and then I daven. So it doesn't really, if you're davening in a shul that has a mikveh, such as Chabad over here, or otherwise Babiv, there's a bunch in Toronto, it's not really a lot of time to go to the mikveh every morning, because you're taking a shower anyway, most people. It's just the dunk, right? So I highly recommend it. However, like I said, I do not insist upon this year that everyone should go to the mikveh every day. As a matter of fact, the Arizal himself did not insist upon it. The Arizal did say that if Chas v'Shulam, a person does see zera or seed, that yes, it's very important to go. The Arizal also said on Shabbos in the morning, it's very important to go. The Arizal did not say that you have to go every day. So that was the Baal Shem Tov's Chiddush, that Chassidim go every day. However, if a person does see seed, it is very, very, very important that before anything that he does in Kedusha, making a bracha, davening, putting on tefillin, any mitzvah, anything he does in Kedusha, thinking in Torah, learning Torah, it is extremely important that a person should go to the mikveh if that person sees a large amount of seed. Yes?
If you're with your wife.
Oh, excellent question. So we have wives, right? And we're with our wives. So, of course, that's a very, very big mitzvah, and there's no negativity to that, of course. However, even if one is with their wife, it's the same thing. That after that, the next morning, the person should go to mikveh before he does any learning, davening. It's not, let me say it clearly, al pi halacha, it is not a must, but al pi kedusha and tahara, and derech Hasidus and the derech the Arizal, it is a must. Okay? So it's not us or not to go, but it is highly, highly encouraged to go. And one more thing I want to stress. There is such a thing called klipas, or shells, or the dark side, or the sitra achra, or the forces of evil. However you want to put it, these things are not superstitions. In the Zohar and in Kisvei Arizal and Kabbalah in general, these things are very, very real. There is a side of evil. There's no question. The side of evil, we're gonna learn it, but the side of evil, it needs, in order to sustain itself, it needs to latch on to Kedusha. Okay? So why am I saying this? Because it is said that if a person learns Kabbalah and he has seen Zera, a large amount, then the forces of evil will latch onto him and suck from him. In other words, he's doing a holy thing. Now he's learning Kabbalah, but he's not in a state of Kedusha and Tahara. This gives an opening for the forces of evil to attach themselves to that person and suck Kedusha from him, which is a very not positive thing. So, that being said, I'm never going to ask anybody when they come to the shiur, chas v'shalom, I would never do such a thing. But I'm telling everybody that if a person needs to go to the mikveh, it is an important thing before learning this kind of material that a person does go to the mikveh. Yes?
Just to clarify, when you're learning Binyan Ariel,
yeah, same thing.
your Akor,
Which,
mikveh,
Binyan Ariel for sure, that's real Kabbalah.
what about Ravitchemeyer? You said.
So I'm saying, I all these things,
Depends on the book.
I'm sorry?
Depends on which sefer.
It definitely depends on which sefer. I mean,
on Shabbos.
No. So let me just put it this way. Let me put it this way. Listen. Any real Kabbalah for sure. But I'll tell you the truth. If you're learning Chassidish Sfarim, it's definitely encouraged. It's definitely encouraged that if a person sees seed, he should go to the mikveh. It's encouraged. You're asking me if you must, on what we're talking about, if it's a Chassidish sefer but it's not real Kabbalah, do you have to go? I don't know. It's probably a gray area. Okay, but what I'm saying is, our shiur that we're doing tonight is real deep stuff. That's our intention. And I do highly recommend that anybody who's in that situation should go to the mikveh. Now, I'm going to make it a little easier for you. Let's say a person can't get to the mikveh that day. So what can be done? Everything okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So what can be done is there's a procedure called Tisha Kabin. Now Tisha Kabin means a kav is a certain amount of water. Tisha Kabin means 9 kavs of water. And what this is now actually it does not accomplish for a person what the mikveh accomplishes. Your person goes down into the mikveh, it's kedusha and tahara, it's a lot of holy stuff is happening when a person is submerged under the water of the mikveh. Tisha Kabin, 9 kavin to be poured on you, is not does not give you that kedusha, but it does remove the tumah of keri. It does take care of the problem that we're talking about. So you can go into your shower in the morning. Everybody has a shower. You go into your shower in the morning. If your shower has regular water pressure, it's about 5 minutes under the shower. Okay, that's basically what it is. You can try to maneuver yourself so that the water gets all over your body, more or less. You don't have to worry if it missed a drop. It probably doesn't isn't a problem. And as basically as if your body gets wet for about 5 minutes under the shower, this will accomplish this. So if you can't get to mikveh, it's not convenient, or you don't have time, you can do this under the shower. If the water pressure on the shower is weak, so stand on the shower for 6 minutes, for 6.5 minutes. You can do that, and it works. Okay. The last option is that if you don't have a mikveh, that's the second best option. The third best option is that believe it or not, there is a procedure that's brought down in Sefer Baal Shem Tov. It is not the Baal Shem Tov's Chiddush. Okay, this procedure existed prior to the Baal Shem Tov, and it's a procedure because the mikveh is a proper mikveh is 40 saw. A saw is an amount of water. It's a volume. 1 saw is a certain amount of water. 40 saw is a mikveh. A mikveh needs to be full of water to the amount of 40 saw. There is a procedure that a person can say certain tefillis which are brought down in Sefer Baal Shem Tov, brought down in other places also. And then there's a hand washing procedure that a person can wash his hands 40 times because the mikveh is 40 saw. And this will also accomplish, it's not like a real mikveh, but it does accomplish that this tumah is removed. It's a little bit of a complicated procedure. What I would probably do is, if Chaim Oliver can help us, probably what we will do is, I have it here in print. Maybe what we'll do is, I'll send it to you, Chaim. We'll put it on our website, and maybe I'll do a little demonstration video of washing your hands 40 times. You have to think of a certain Shem of Hashem as you do it. But this is very by Chassidim, this is a very common thing, that if a guy couldn't get to mikveh, maybe he went on vacation, the mikveh is too far away, it's Shabbos, he can't take a shower, so they would use this procedure.
Is this preferable to the Tisha Kabin?
It is not perfect. Tisha Kabin is real, is Tisha Kabin, that's a halachic thing. This is already not a halachic thing. The water is only going on your hands, it's not going on your whole body. So this would be the last resort. But if a person, if he needs it, he wants to come to this shiur, he hasn't done it, then it takes 5 minutes. Right. It takes the tefillas and the washing, the whole thing is 5 minutes. Yeah.
I was once told that you take a shower and then you do that.
That's super duper. That's the shower. It will take the shower is the Tisha Kabin, and then there's a certain tefillas and holiness that's excellent. If you want to do that, that's it. But there's nothing better than a real live mikveh, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So that's so.
Do you think, I know, like in Chabad specifically, they'll go to mikveh in a swimming pool.
Oh, very good.
Do you think that's better, like full immersion in a pool?
Yes.
Better than both?
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. As a matter of fact, they told me that even by Harav Itchemeyer Morgenstern, that by today it's probably they probably have a normal mikveh, but
Like a water.
there was some kind of cistern.
Yeah.
That it was. I do not believe it was a real kosher mikveh, and the whole shul. It was outside of the shul, and people used to climb a ladder and enter this cistern and go under, and so that's a very good point. Thank you for mentioning that. So I would say a real mikveh is the top priority. Even a real mikveh, the filter is going. Sometimes you go to mikveh late, the filter is running. You can't turn off. In Babav, they have a button you can press and the filter goes off. So it's a real mikveh. A filter going on makes it not a real mikveh. But for this purpose, even if the filter's on, you will accomplish. It will work. You don't have to turn the filter. It's better if the filter's off, because then it's a real mikveh. But if the filter's on, it will work. And now Shmuley just said a very important thing, that if you're in Florida and you have a swimming pool, the swimming pool is good enough. A lot of bungalow colonies used to have swimming pools before they had mikvahs. They did this. And is it a real mikvah? No. Does it work for this issue? Yes, it does work. So that's a very good. So I would say here's the order. Real mikvah is the best thing. Then a swimming pool is number 2. Then standing under the shower would be number 3. And then this procedure with the hand washing 40 times would be number 4. Okay.
And the shower, hot water's fine?
Sure, whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah, you better not do cold water, because you're not going to stay under there. You're going to be jumping for, no, the temperature of water makes no difference. Okay. Okay, so let's try to get into it a little bit. I wanted to share with you a chiddush of something that we discussed on the shiur number 1. Today we're on shiur number 3. Shiur number 1, we started off with a question. I'm not going to go through it deep. I'm just going to remind you the question, and I'll say a little chiddush. I don't know if it's true, but maybe it's true. That we had said that the Eitz Chaim asked the question of why was the world created exactly at that time, right? And the answer came from Reb Pinchas Koritzer, that he said it wasn't just at that time, because every instant Hashem created many, many worlds. And he was always doing that. And so every instant Hashem is creating, so we're just one world of many, many billions of worlds. So it's not a chiddush. Why were we created in that time? It's not our time. Every moment Hashem created a different world. That's what we said, Reb Pinchas Koritzer said in shiur number 1. And then he said this bombshell statement and it could be that in one of those worlds right now, Moshe Rabbeinu is giving the Torah to the Yidden. So he seemed to feel that in all these worlds, it's the same people, it's the same history, it's the same everything. It's just happening again and again and again and again. That's what it seems like he's saying. So I was thinking myself, it's very interesting that we have a klal. Rashi speaks about this klal many, many times. The first time I believe he speaks about it is in Parshas Noach. And what Rashi says there is that Rashi says a klal, there is no before or after in the Torah. That's what Rashi says. In other words, like this. In Noach, for instance, Rashi will go through, you will find many examples in Chumash, right, that something will happen, and then the Torah will talk about something that happened before that thing happened. So the Torah is not, the bottom line is like this. Rashi is telling you the Torah is not necessarily written in order. Most of the Torah goes in order. It starts Bereshis Bar Lekim, Noach, Lech Lecha. Most of the Torah is the history of the Jewish people, the history of the world. It usually goes in order. But Rashi will point out to us in certain places that the Torah does not go in order. That you'll find an event, and then the Torah will talk about another event that happened before that event. And Rashi brings many places. The first time is in Parshas Noach. I had a question. I understand. There's no muktam or mu'ucher shebetorah. There's no earlier or later. I understand that. Why? But why? Isn't that a strange thing that I understand? Yes, you can have, the Torah can say something that happened later, and then even before can say something that happened, one second. The Torah can say something that happened, and then it could say something that happened before that. It's not written in order, but why? But why is the Torah not written in order? Why would Hashem do such a thing? The Torah is normally, anyone who learns Gemara or any section of Torah knows, the Torah is a very organized thing, and is usually in order. So why would Hashem sometimes throw like a pitch from left field and he'll say something not in order? Why would he do that? This is my chiddush. I don't know if it's true, okay? I want to say that maybe what Hashem is saying is he's being meramez to this thing that Reb Pinchas Kortz was talking about. That we know the Torah was already given, right? We had the Torah, it was given, whatever it was, 3,500 years ago, whatever the year was, right? But Pinchas Kortz says, but it could be right now that the Torah is being given again. That could be why the Torah does this. Because the Torah is trying to tell us that you should not think that once something has happened, it has happened and it's done. No. In another world, it might be happening again. And another world, so things that have already happened are happening again. So things that we're going to mention something now, and then we're going to mention something else that happened before that something now. This is just my, I don't know if it's true. That's just my little chiddush. Maybe true, maybe not true. I didn't see it anywhere. It's my thing. Yeah.
There's an English saying, history repeats itself.
That's for sure.
So maybe that's exactly what's happening.
Well, that's a very good point. No, there's no question. Not only that, the Chazal say, Ma'isa avoy siman labanim. The Chazal say this, that whatever our forefathers did, the children do. There are many, many examples of this. Okay. So now I want to go to, we were talking, the last thing we were talking about is we were talking about the tzimtzum, right? And what we had said then was that there was Hashem in his essence, it's called Ein Sof, and Ein Sof filled the entire existence. And then Hashem Kaviyachol moved himself from the center of himself in the form of a circle and vacated himself Kaviyachol from that circle, right? That's what we said. So first of all, I want to tell you two very, very interesting things that the Emek HaMelech says. The Emek HaMelech says like this. He says, that circle, that makom pani, that quote-unquote empty space, which isn't really empty, we discussed that, but let's just call it the makom pani, the empty space, because that's what the Arizal calls it. That place is called Rashis, the beginning, because it is the beginning. That place is the beginning of everything. So says the Emek HaMelech, this is how he teaches Bereshis. He says, Bereshis, The pasuk is Bereshis bar Elokim es Hashemayim es Aretz. In the beginning, Hashem created Shemayim and Aretz. Says the Emek HaMelech, Bereshis. This place is called Rashis. Bereshis, in the Rashis, bar Elokim es Hashemayim es Aretz. It's a beautiful, beautiful word, no? I thought it was amazing. Yeah? Clear? That's one interesting thing I saw in the Emek HaMelech. The other interesting thing I saw is he takes a pasuk that we say on Yamim Noraim. I think the pasuk goes, Hashem tzvakois, ani rishoin, v'ani achroin, imi beladai ein Elokim. Right? Famous pasuk, we say it to Rosh Hashanah, we say it Yom Kippur. Hashem tzvakois Hashem, ani rishoin, it's Hashem talking. It's the Navi is saying this. There's a Navi that it's from the Nevi'im. A Navi is saying this pasuk in as if Hashem is saying it. Hashem tzvakos, Hashem. Ani rishoin, I am the first. V'ani achroin, I am the last. Imi beladai, and besides me, ein Elokim. And without me, there's no God. I'm it. Says Emek HaMelech. Hashem tzvakos. Ani rishoin, above the Makom Pani. Right? So we have the Makom Pani. Ani rishoin, up here. Ani achroin, below the Makom Pani. Imi beladai ein Elokim, in the Makom Pani. He's saying this is in the. Of course, there's Elokim in the Makom Pani, but the mashal of the Arizal is that there's a concealment in the Makom Pani, and it looks like Chas v'Shalom, God is not there. We can be in this. That's this world. We can be in this world. We can have an atheist that says, "I don't believe in God." That's very hidden. God is very, very hidden. That someone can have a chutzpah to say such a thing. He's very hidden. So Ani Rishoin, Hashem says, Ani Rishoin, above the Makom Pani, it's me, Ein Sof, Ani Rishoin. Below the Makom Pani, Ani Achroin, it's me also. Mi Biladai Ein Elokim, in the Makom Pani. Without me, there is no God. That's as if to say, in there, without, I am not there, there's no God. Kaviyuch, it doesn't, again, doesn't mean that, but it's in the mashal of the Arizal. He's working with the mashal of the Arizal. The mashal Arizal is Toras Emes. So the Nevi'im are echoing this notion that in the Makom Pani there's a very big hester. Okay, now I'd like to go. There's an amazing sefer. This sefer is called Sefer Irin Kadishin. It's a 2-volume set. Actually, the Kapishnitzar Rebbe is a Kapishnitzar Rebbe that lives, a very chashuv person. He lives in Eretz Yisrael. Probably 30 years ago or more, he started redoing all the Chassidish Sfarim and printing them nicer covers, nicer print, with notes. So he came out with this sefer many years ago. This sefer called Irin Kadishin. Irin Kadishin means holy angels. Why is it called that? This is the Divrei Torah of the Rizhiner Rebbe and his children. Could be also his Talmidim. The whole Rizhin thing is not the whole maybe, but is in these 2 volumes. The Torahs of the Rizhiner Rebbe are here. Of course, for historical reasons, I'll say the Rizhiner Rebbe. Who was the Rizhiner Rebbe? So you have the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov's main Talmud was in Mizritcher Magid. Mizritcher Magid had a son, Avram HaMalach. Avram HaMalach had a son, Shulam Shachna. Shulam Shachna had a son, the Rizhiner Rebbe, Rabbi Yisrael from Rizhin, who was considered from the biggest Tzaddik Yador. The Rizhiner Rebbe says an amazing thing here. It's in the first Torah on Bereshis. I'm going to read the Torah. It's a very cute, quick Torah. Someone's quoting him. After this, he said. Afterwards, the Rebbe said like this. Listen to this. Kol HaTorah Kula Nechlala B'Sefer Bereshis. The entire Torah is included in Sefer Bereshis. That means to say that if you knew how to scramble the letters or use gematrias or use Rosh Tevis or Safei Tevis or Misper Cotton, whatever it is, you could find a way that in Sefer Bereshis you could find the rest of the Torah, the other 4 Svarim, in Sefer Bereshis. Okay, again, Kol Torah Kula, the entire Torah is Nichlala B'Sefer Bereshis, is included in Sefer Bereshis. V'Sefer Bereshis Nichlal B'Parshas Bereshis. And the entire Sefer Bereshis is included in the Parsha of Bereshis, right? The first Parsha of the Torah. V'chol Parshas Bereshis nichleles bepasuk Bereshis bar lekim es hashemayim v'sarets. That whole first Parsha of Bereshis is included in the first pasuk Bereshis bar lekim es hashemayim v'sarets. V'chol pasuk Bereshis bara Elokim es hashemayim v'sarets nichlal b'tevas Bereshis. And that whole first pasuk, Bereshis bar lekim es hashemayim v'sarets, is included in just the first word of the Torah, Bereshis. V'chol tevas Bereshis, and the entire word Bereshis, nichleles, is included be'ois beis shel Bereshis, in the very first letter of the Torah, the base. Ve'habeis nichlal b'nekuda shebesoich habeis. And that base is included in the dot, not just the dot, the invisible dot in the first letter of the Torah, the base. Why I say invisible, because yes, we have a Messiah that a base has a dot, and the base in Bereshis, the first letter of the Torah, has a dot. But if you look at it in the Sefer Torah, obviously there's no dots. So that dot is an invisible dot. Now, I understand, by the way, this, pretty awesome, but it's going to get more awesome. I am 99% sure that I have seen kimat these exact words from the Gra. I'm 99% sure. Maybe if there's someone in the audience that's big on the Gra, they can confirm it and tell me where. But I think I've even seen it quoted, not more than once. I've seen it. I'm 99% sure. But anyway, now I want to ask a question. I understand what they're doing over here. This whole big thing is including this smaller thing, and this smaller thing is included this small, and this is, So again, you're going to work with scrambling of letters and redoing the words, and Rosh Tevis and Gematrias, and you can do all that, and you can probably, if someone's very creative, he can probably figure out a way that he can show all of these things. Basically, he could show the whole Torah in the pasuk Bereshis bar lekim es hashemayim v'sarets. If he's really creative, he could show the whole Torah in the first word Bereshis. But let me ask you something. What in the world could this mean, that you see everything in the dot of the base of Bereshis? What could that mean? I'll tell you what it means. There's a makom pani, and that makom pani is one dot. That's exactly what it is. And that's what he means. He means to say that the entire existence is in that makom pani, which we know it is, and the remez to that makom pani is that dot of Bereshis. That when the Torah tells you that Hashem has created all of existence in that very first word, Bereshis, it's being meramez to you in that little dot of Bereshis. In other words, if you know what that dot means, you understand the whole Kisvei Arizal now. That it's in that the whole thing, the whole Torah, and we know that everything is merumah, and the whole existence is in the Torah. The Torah preceded the creation of the world. So everything is that one makom pani, that dot. That is what Hashem is trying to show us with the dot of the base of Bereshis. And not only that, it's an invisible dot. And we said, when Hashem in his essence filled the entire existence as Ein Sof, so when he created Kaviyuchel, that makom pani, that was a hester, that was a disguise, that was concealment. Thank you. That's why the dot is invisible. It's concealed. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I was also thinking maybe it's because it's yesh mi ayin. It had to come from ayin, from nothing.
What again?
The whole
thing had to come from the. So we're saying that's why the dot is.
It's not even there really. It starts and not there, and then it's there.
Then
it's
right.
It's
Excellent. Okay, now let me ask you something. I want to talk about. We said that Hashem has made a makom pani. Now I want to ask a question. Before the creation of the makom pani, so it was all Hashem, in His glory, in His essence, Ein Sof, everywhere, right? And then He created a space, Kaviyuchel, devoid of Him, or where He is concealed. So I want to ask everyone a question. When Hashem created that makom pani, Was it a positive thing or was it a negative thing? There's two ways to view it, right? What would you say if I ask you, is it, right now Hashem is everywhere. Now, there's a place he's concealed. Ooh, that's a very negative thing. Hashem is concealed in that place. You can have someone saying Hashem doesn't exist in that place. People can do Averas in that place. So you can view it as the Makom Pani is a very negative thing. What's the other side of the coin? Anybody?
If and when you reveal Hashem in that place, it's an even dealer.
You're right. The whole thing is that place. The whole Torah and mitzvah is that place. Our whole existence, the whole way that we're Oved Hashem is in that place. If Hashem would not have created that place, we would not be here. There'd be no Torah. There'd be no mitzvahs. There'd be no practicality. The meeting has ended after 40 minutes idle time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, just keep going.
Keep going. Okay. So most people would say, we're okay now?
Yeah, keep going.
Keep going. Okay. Most people would say that if you wanted to explain this, you would explain it as Yerida L'Tzorech Aliyah. Okay? There was a Yerida. What was the Yerida? The Yerida was, till now, Ein Sof was everywhere. Now there's a place that Kaviyucha Ein Sof cannot be seen, is concealed. That's a Yerida. But L'Tzorech Aliyah. But it's a Tzorech and Aliyah. We can exist in this place. We can be Oved Hashem in this place. We can bring Hashem into this place. Kaviyucha with our Torah mitzvahs. We can, right? That's the Aliyah. Now this concept of Yerida L'Tzorech Aliyah, you see it everywhere. I'll give you a few very practical, simple examples of it. When a person wants to shoot a bow and arrow, the first thing is he has to pull back, right? The goal is to get the arrow that way, to get it shot. So he takes the arrow, he moves it backwards, but that creates the tension, and boom, the arrow goes. That is a Yerid L'Tzorech Aliyah. A person wants to jump over a pit, let's say. If he stands by the pit and jumps, he'll probably fall in the pit. If he goes backwards and then starts running and jumps by the pit, that's a Yerida L'Tzorech Aliyah. A person wants the same thing. A person wants to throw a ball. You don't just throw the ball. You take your hand back, you throw the ball. The interesting thing over here is that at the exact same time, by the Makom Pani, the Yerida is the Aliyah. Think about what this means for a second. It's the exact same action. The examples I'm giving you, I'll give you even two more examples. A caterpillar goes into a cocoon and it dissolves, and it looks like, if you cut it open, it will look like mush. And then the caterpillar hatches or comes out, whatever you say, and it's not a caterpillar. The caterpillar was a slow, creepy, crawly, ugly, and now the caterpillar comes. It's a beautiful thing, right? It's flying, it's swift, it's quick, it has colors, right? Yerid L'Tzorech Aliyah, right? A person chas v'shalom after 120 years, a person dies. His body gets decomposed, but where the person goes to amazing places after that. You read L'Tzorech Aliyah. A seed, you put it in the ground, and then you put the seed in the ground, the seed self-destructs. So it's terrible, it looks like mush, but then the seed sprouts and you have a tree. But over here, the very interesting thing is that at the same exact moment, when Hashem went and created this quote-unquote Makom Pani, at the same exact moment as there was a Yerida, it was an Aliyah. It was the exact same action.
What was Aliyah? The fact that mitzvahs were now able to be done?
100%. 100%. So this is even better. All these other examples are the seed has to self-destruct. The caterpillar has to turn to mush. The person has to die. All these things is first the bad thing happens and the good things happens. But in essence, the whole root of this is the Makom Pani. That's the root of everything. And you see here that the Yerida is the Aliyah. It's the exact same thing. So I'm just telling you, this is real. In Breslov, this is a big there's a big dogish on this on Breslov that everything is good. This is general hashkafa, that Hashem doesn't do anything that's bad. It's all good. But we learn all these lessons. When the Arizal tells us these things, he's not just telling us for fun how the world was created. Everything that the Arizal says, there's deep, deep meaning in it. You have to understand when the Arizal talks about the Makom Pani, what he's telling you is that in your personal life, any Yerida is an Aliyah. It's the exact same thing. It's not first you had an Aliyah and then there was a Yerida and then you had an Aliyah. The Yerida is the Aliyah. It's going to lead to the Aliyah. You don't understand it, but at that moment it is the Yerida. It is the Aliyah. Excuse me. It's a fantastic thing. This is what I understand. What this means. The Makom Pani.
I heard just last week in Yerida Tachlis Aliyah.
Yeah.
That you say Yerida Tachlis.
Tachlis Aliyah.
That's the Rabbi Nachman just said. Yerida Tachlis Aliyah, right? But take off the Aliyah. Just Yerida Tachlis.
Just going down.
Yerida is the Tachlis.
Because
something like you're saying.
Is it? Right. It's very important. This is a very, very important. Listen, we all have Yeridas. Sometimes small ones, chas v'shalom, sometimes big ones, and we don't want that. But everyone has to know that. And usually, the way it works is the harder the Yerida, the bigger the Aliyah. There are people that say that when they have aggravation in their life, it's very hard, but they know that after that aggravation, something very good is going to happen. And maybe the people listening to this shiur know this from personal experience. Okay.
So just to clarify, you're not saying that the creation of the Makom Pani is different than all those other examples. You're saying that it has to serve as the lesson to show that all of these things that look like Yeridas are in fact
correct.
Aliyahs.
Correct. That's right. That's a lesson. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Okay, so let's get into the Sefer where we left off. Does everyone have their Sfarim? Does anyone know exactly what page we were on when we stopped? Okay. I should really mark it in. Okay. Did we end the parak? You don't know. Maybe we did. You know what I think we are? I'll tell you where I think we are. I think we're on Tes Zion. I can't even remember. My gosh. Could it be we're on Tes Zion? At that paragraph, Filu?
Could be, yeah.
Let's try that. Oh, yeah. I think that is where we are. Does it make sense? Did we talk about Kavodo?
Yeah, I remember talking about Kavodo.
We were talking about Kavodo?
I remember getting to the end of something.
Okay, so that's it. So that's where we are. Okay, sorry about that. In Yetz Hashem, I'm going to make a mark now, so we won't have that problem again. Okay, we're on page Tes Zion, where the paragraph starts. V'afilu achar hoitzas ha'or hagadol halazeh me'achalal. Now, even after this great light has left the chalal, has left that empty space, adayin nishar sham me'at me'ha'or. There is still a little bit of light that remains. He'll explain. Lefi shesiluk ha'or haya b'derech me'at me'at. Now, he's telling you a technicality that the Arizal says, that when Hashem took the or out of the Makom Pani Kavayachol, he didn't zap it out in one instant. He took it out slowly. The or again, we said that the or bent into himself, but slowly, not in one big zap. Now he's going to say an interesting mashal. The yuvan b'mashal lamayim. It can be understood from a mashal of water. She'im tishpoich mayim al eze davar hamushpa b'koyach gadol b'redifa gedoyla. Av shehaya sham eze guma ketano oy eze makom namuch loy nisharu bahem shum tipas mayim mikoyach haredifa. Okay, this is what he says. Let's go slowly. Let me read it slowly. Shem tishbech mayim al eza davar hamishpa. If a person will pour water on a certain place that is lower, bekoyach gadol or beredifa gadola, with a big force. So you don't pour the water nicely, slowly. You shoot the water into a place. Av sheyiyah sham eza guma katana. If you'll have, let's say, you'll shoot the water into some kind of wooden bowl, and you throw in the water very quickly. Now, even if there's some kind of a hole, not a hole through and through, some kind of a crevice in that wooden bowl, oy eza makom namuch, or a lower place in that bowl, lo yisharu behem shum tipas mayim mikoyach haradifa. He's going to say like this: if you were to put in the water slowly, then the water would continue to go down, but that crevice would capture some water, and the water would remain in the crevice. If you did it slowly, but if you do it quickly, I guess it's kind of a gravitational thing that the water. You won't have water left in that crevice. It'll get sucked out because of the force, so that crevice will be left empty. However, had you put it in slowly, the rest of the water would have went down, but some water would have been remained and trapped in that hole. That's what he says. Aval im hamayim. Afshi yasham eza guma katano or eza makam namach lo yisharu behem shum tipas mayim b'koyach haradifa. No drop of water would end up in that little crevice because of the force of how you threw down the water. Aval im hamayim nishpachim la'at la'at. But if you put in the water very slowly, azay yisharu harbe mayim b'chol makomish hamanuchim, then a lot of water will remain in those lower places or crevices. Kain haya badavar hazeh. So too it was in this thing. And what he's saying now is an interesting thing, that he's talking about a physical phenomenon down here in this earth that has to do with gravity or reverse gravity, whatever you want to call it. But every single thing that's happening down here is rooted in what happened up there. So the reason that the water works like this down here is because what happened up there. Kain haya badavar hazeh beor hagadol, in this great light, shehu meor ein sof baruch, meor ein sof baruch hu, the light of ein sof baruch hu, shenitach me'at me'at kedei sheyishari acharav bracha. When it was, he's saying like this: had Hashem quickly removed all of the ore from the makom pani, then all of the ore would have been out and it would have been totally empty. It's not how Hashem did it. He slowly took out the ore, and because he removed it slowly, certain parts of the ore remained. That's what he's saying. He says an interesting lashon, there should be a bracha left in that place. V'hu roishem mehaorosh shenistalku. This is called a remainder of the light that was removed. V'zeh or nishar nikra b'svarim hakadoshim or harashimu. This is a very important word. This word rashimu refers to the ore that remained in the makom pani. Even though we refer to the makom pani as an empty space, that's a translation. Makom pani means empty space. It is not entirely empty. There was a rashimu, a leftover of the ore that remained in that place. Ibazeh nivra kol habriya. That leftover is very important. K'mavur lahalan. That leftover is very important. What the Arizal is going to say is, we're going to see soon in the next parak something called a kav. There's going to be a ray of light of Ein Sof that's going to enter the makom pani, and that ray of light is going to have a zivig, is going to connect to this rashimu, to this leftover ore, and that is going to create existence. So basically, what they kind of say is, okay, we're gonna see what it is, but we're gonna see that in a woman you have an egg, Okay, the egg, in the muscle of the egg over here is going to be called the reshimu, the leftover ore. That's like an egg in a woman. And we're going to see that a kav is going to come down, and that's going to be as if to say the zera, which connects to the egg and creates existence. So these two, we haven't talked about the kav yet, but what we are talking about now is the reshimu, the leftover ore. That's going to be a parable to the egg of a woman. There's a better word for an egg. Ovary. Thank you. And everything's going to be created from that. We can continue. I don't want to infringe on your shiur. It's 9:46. We should.
It's 15 minutes. Maybe.
Continue.
What do you guys think?
Whatever you. I don't mind stopping here. We could stop.
Yeah, maybe let's stop.
Let's stop?
Yeah.
Okay, so Mirza Hashem, gentlemen, we will continue next Thursday night at 8:45. Now, Rabbi Avram Gisselson is going to begin his shiur in B'Yam Darkecha.
Yeah.
And please, again, everyone, it will be easier for me if you could please contact me, give me your name and number. I'll put you in the Pnimis Toronto group. And we'll have everything, we'll notify everybody before each year.